What's up everybody? Today we're reviewing Vampire Boy, which is now currently crowdfunding on Kickstarter. You can back this campaign and get this comic, but first, let's go over what it's actually about. So Vampire Boy follows the story of Eli, who is known to be a total loser with no ambitions or life trajectory at all. Even his friends make fun of him for having no girlfriend, no future.
No friends.
All he does all day is smoke weed, play video games. Chances are you know somebody exactly like this. But one day he does get approached by a hot bitch who needs him to pretend to be her boyfriend. This is his opportunity to change his status of no bitches. But as he's escorting her to what is supposed to be some sort of party, he comes across a dead body in the alleyway. Blood everywhere. That's peculiar. And it turns out that this bitch is no bitch, but rather instead a vampire bitch. And now that she has already killed this guy, he is her next target. Although, for a vampire, you know, who drinks blood and everything, she sure let a lot of the blood go to waste. It's just everywhere. He doesn't look like he's been sucked dry or anything. It's just like, you know how when you don't finish your meal at the dinner table and your parents tell you, oh well, there are starving kids in third world countries who could have eaten that food. There are starving vampires who could have used that blood. And when he asks her, like, why are you choosing to kill me for your food of all people? She tells him, well, it's because you're a loser. Because you have no ambitions. Because you have no family or friends. You don't do anything. You don't leave an impact on the world. Also, I think it's really funny that we don't even consider those two friends in the car that he was just with to be his friends. Canonically, they're not actually his friends. They're just douchebags that he hangs out with every now and then. But by some sort of miracle, another vampire shows up to save him. And a fight breaks out between the two vampires. They're saying their shonen moves, and they're saying it in German. I appreciate this, even though she is very clearly not German. And Eli calls out to her for help. He wants to live, right? But she doesn't like that he called out to her for help and decides to just leave him to die anyway. I don't know. She had a change of heart. She decided, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm gonna just let him die. And then he berates her and shames her for not saving him and not respecting him as a person. And then she changes her mind again, decides, yes, I like it when men talk bad to me. I want to save you now. And so she decides to turn him and give him this ability to defeat the vampire who is after him. I assume this is kind of similar to the idea of like a vampire turning someone into their ghoul or something. And thanks to his newfound power-up, he is able to, of course, win. Now, full disclaimer, yes, this is a paid review, but the opinions are not paid for. This actually is coming from Manga Punk, which you may have remembered I reviewed another manga of theirs not too long ago, Excelsior. Immediately upon reading this, I can tell already that it's not really for me, but I can imagine a specific type of person enjoying it. The first thing I notice is that the dialogue is very flavored, and there's nothing wrong with having characters speak in a way that lets them have their own voice. Obviously, X-Men is known for doing this, where they gave every character pretty much a different accent and a different way of speaking that's very specific and quirky to that character. All that being said, if the text is way too flavored, it kind of becomes more difficult to actually understand what the character is trying to say. And of course, the typos do not help. I've been ordered to follow you around for any suspicious activities, but this is far too deplorable. I've been ordered to follow you around for any suspicious activities. Okay, The grammar is pretty messed up here. Now, the story itself is obviously taking from that shonen formula, and that is kind of how it feels when you're reading it. It's like, man, where have I seen this story before? I feel like I've read a story just like this somewhere else. But my issues with it is not so much about the generic nature or even it just being a formulaic shonen. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the main character himself, and it feels like it's missing something very pivotal to a shonen, which is a character proving themselves or having this redeeming quality about them that makes you personally want to root for them. Essentially, I'm not really convinced why this vampire girl gives him the powers to begin with. What does he do to exactly earn it? Well, as far as I can see, the only thing he really does is get mad at her for not saving him. Now, is this supposed to be a character arc that he gets mad at someone for not saving him? At first I thought maybe the idea was he didn't care if he died or not when this vampire was going to kill him a moment ago, and maybe that's supposed to be the character arc, is now he cares, now he wants to live. But then even after he has that moment where he yells at her for not saving him, he has a very similar scene with the other vampire girl where he's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna die. I get to leave this shitty world with a baddie's goodbye kiss. Almost word for word what he said before. So it's not a change of character, it's not him deciding that he wants to live. And it's not really set up that his problem is that he doesn't stand up for himself. His problem is that he doesn't have much of a motivation. He doesn't have any goals. And that's a problem for a main character in any shonen, really, because they should have a motivation. They should have something that they're striving towards. Essentially, his motivation is that he wants a motivation. He wants to become a main character, and that is the plot beneath the plot of this comic. And maybe there's something you could do with that concept. I'm just not really seeing it here. It just feels a little empty, you know, kind of half-baked. As far as all the vampire stuff, you know, changing this nobody into a vampire and going on, I guess, adventures as a vampire, that's like fine. It's fine. I do kind of miss the days where vampires were actual vampires and not just like superheroes. Twilight really did just ruin all vampire media, didn't it? But there used to be a time where vampires were actual, like, demons, right? They were evil, and they were trying to manipulate people and cause suffering amongst the world, and now they're just kind of superheroes. And it's almost like these concepts have become really watered down and not unique anymore. So I knew immediately that this was not a comic for me, but I could see somebody out there enjoying it for what it is. There's certainly people who can relate to not accomplishing much in life, people who can relate to feeling like a loser and wanting to be given superpowers. Yeah, sure, okay. There is a little bit of a Gary Stewie-ness of it, with this idea that it's supposed to be a self-insert for the audience to get attached to and to live vicariously through, right? Root for because they're rooting for themselves to do well in real life. Obviously, a lot of isekais also follow beat for beat this idea of self-inserts, getting a lot of success, and it's gratifying to an audience. Whether or not this is actually going that route, I'm not entirely sure. But right now, the main character just feels kind of empty to me. No motivation, nothing to really root for him doing in life. Why does he become a vampire? Because it's better than being a dishwasher, I guess. But definitely let me know what you think about this story down below if you have read it. And if you haven't read it, feel free to check out the Kickstarter. You get fully caught up on the story. They have digital options as well as some physical ones, different languages available. So if this does seem like something you would enjoy, if you are that type of person who wants to get on this, the links will be in the description. Obviously, thank you MangaPunk for reaching out for another review here on the channel. And thank you guys for watching another review on the channel. If you also have your own independent comics or manga that you would like to see me review, you can always reach out and give me money. But we're gonna call it here for today, guys, so like the video, comment down below, and stay away from dark alleyways with dead guys in them. That's good advice.
Program restart.